So, why do property people always talk about decluttering? My clients always ask me, first, what is clutter? And second, what do I do with it? Or why do I need to get rid of it in the first place? So, clutter is the stuff that creeps into our homes that makes us feel more comfortable in our space. It could be books or magazines, it could be toys for the children, it could simply be pretty little items that we have gathered along our journey. But the key to preparing your house for sale is to have as little clutter in your property as possible. The reason for this is that clutter actually distracts people. When they walk into a room, they're focusing sometimes more on what's in it than the room itself. So you should always expect that you'll have to do either a little or a lot decluttering when you go to put your property on the market for sale. So here are some tips and a bit of advice to how to declutter well. The first thing is, don't go room by room because a whole room could have a lot of clutter in it. Rather, in each room, pick a space. For example, pick the coffee table. Allocate yourself a limit of time, be it 1 hour or 2 hours, depending on how much work you have to do. Set aside the things that you will either throw away or give away, and at the end of the time, remove those things from the house, because otherwise they'll creep back in, and before you know it, they're back where you started. The next step is, once you have decluttered the space, don't be afraid to leave or to replace with some new items just to have some interest. So for example, here we have some coffee table books and 1 or 2 small items of interest. You'll see here that this surface of this coffee table is almost completely clear. So if I, as an agent, bring somebody into the room, they're not distracted by looking at the coffee table or seeing what's on the coffee table. They can immediately focus more widely on the room. Many parts of our houses are victims of clutter. The living room in particular, because this is the space where we go to relax, and that's where our clutter tends to follow us. The kitchen is also a big clutter spot, particularly on the work surfaces, and it's important to clear those surfaces throughout the house as much as possible. And the spaces that we use less tend to be filled with clutter and also with the things that we simply want to put out of sight. So do pay good attention to rooms like if you have a dining room or if you have a guest bedroom, to give those spaces a really good, thorough decluttering. Now, particularly if you have small children in the house, it's difficult to deal with their items and their clutter. So have a plan with how you're going to deal with these things which you still need every day when you're preparing for a viewing. I usually suggest to my clients to get a big cardboard or plastic box, put all of those things in there temporarily, move them out of sight into the garage, for example, or the utility room or an understairs cupboard. And after the viewing, you can reintroduce those important things back to the space. So you haven't inconvenienced yourself and you haven't lost things that you really need, for example, remote controls or a book that you're reading. But make sure that you have the plan so that when the viewing takes place, all of your day-to-day clutter, important as it might be to you, is out of sight.